Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Tim F. Riley. I'm Peter.
And I'm Tim F. Riley.
We have a very special episode this week, the long-awaited Mailbag episode.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into it, I'm bringing back one of your favorite gags, one time only.
Oh, guessing a card.
This Guess the Card.
Yeah.
This card is Mailbag episode for 3 and a blue. It's an enchantment aura. It has enchant, host, or guest.
Oh.
When this enters the battlefield, enchanted host enters the recording channel and asks them a question. Enchanted host doesn't leave the recording channel, and other commitments can't be committed to.
So it sounds like a Oblivion ring that hits 2 different types.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 3 and a blue. Can't attack or block or something. Doesn't untap. I can think of like capture sphere or something as like that's the Ravnica keep something tapped. But this has got to be like on theme, and I don't think capture sphere is on theme.
Yeah. I don't know if you played this on Jump In on Arena. I know that you're a big fan of the Jump In events, but that might give you a hint of kind of what product.
Oh no, this is a Jumpstart specific card.
This is a Jumpstart specific card.
All right, give me that second clause, not the untap one.
All right, when it enters, Enchanted Host enters the recording channel and asks them a question.
Oh, ask them a question.
Yep.
I was really just trying to get any hold on this thing before. It's ask a question. Is that investigate?
That's investigate. Yep. He's putting the pieces together.
I do not think I know this question or this card though.
All right. The card from Jumpstart 2022 is Hold for Questioning, which is what we're going to do with Tim today.
Very nice.
All of our Discord members had the chance to drop in some questions that they wanted to ask Tim. We got some magic-related questions, general game design-related questions, maybe some podcast questions, and some general life questions. So lots of Tim lore for all you Tim fanatics out there. And we're just going to tackle it one by one, starting off here at the top. This is from Cord. If you got to make a Universes Beyond product, what would it be? And what would be the universes within versions of a card you'd want from it?
So Universes Beyond, I guess there's kind of 2 levels of Universes Beyond, because there's like, we're going to make 8 Street Fighter cards. And then there's like, we're going to make 300 Marvel cards. Or I guess for the big what is like a hard thing to do, to have like 300 cards worth of stuff. You know what I mean? I guess like, what would be big enough? Probably like some RPG series, like Persona, maybe? Persona, you have like a million little monsters. The monsters combine in cool ways. You have a bunch of cool protagonists. That would be pretty fun.
Persona's the one I only know the character from Smash. Joker, right?
Yeah.
Persona 5? Okay. Yeah.
I guess this isn't... Tell me if this is Universes Beyond. I want more D&D content, but specifically from Baldur's Gate 3. I want the bad guys from Baldur's Gate. I want to give us another rev on the companion cards. Something like that.
I think Dungeons and Dragons, I would classify that as Universes Beyond, right?
Yeah. I need a slightly better Minthara card, is what I'm looking for. I've been loving Delicious in Dungeon, aka Dungeon Meshi. So one of the things that's kind of funny about Universes Beyond is like the Assassin's Creed one. It's like name checking like 80 characters from the series, and then there are like 30 other cards. Like name checking like a bunch of characters from over 20 years, like that's not really what I want out of a Magic set. I want to like explore the lore or something. Maybe that's not what sells, but like if we're doing dungeon Meshi, I don't necessarily just want like every named character. I want to get into that setting, the world where like people are adventuring in this dungeon. Death is a part of the adventure process. There's these cool like elf faction and dwarf faction and stuff like that. Like I want more of that stuff, but I don't know if that's good for Universes Beyond.
Yeah. I mean, one of the cool thing about Universes Beyond is seeing like some core element of the genre or whatever you're playing expressed in Magic terms. So like, I'm thinking of the Street Fighter guy that has that like super fast punch, and then so in the version of his Magic card, he can like block 100 people or whatever. Yeah. So what's a mechanic? Can you think of a mechanic from Dungeon Meshi, which is Maybe you want to explain. I didn't know this one at all. Delicious in Dungeon.
This is like a D&D adventuring party style.
Mm-hmm.
They're adventuring a dungeon. They fight a dragon. They lose. One of their friends gets eaten by the dragon, or they think eaten, or kidnapped by the dragon. They get teleported out, and they don't have enough money to actually go adventuring anymore. So they decided the way they're going to save money is by eating the monsters they kill, which is like a pioneering concept and disgusting to some of them. But that's part. It's more of a comedy. It's not all comedy, but it's mostly a comedy. It's like a world that is kind of like, I don't know if people played like MMOs like EverQuest or something back before they got more user friendly when they were kind of crappy. Like that's the world these characters live in, where you could be revived, but someone has to drag your body up from 50 floors down up to the surface. Like real tedious stuff. I guess we've already gotten just like a lot of food support lately. Like Bloomburrow, we got a bunch like Yigra, the thing that turns everything into food. I guess that's kind of the main character of the show, turning monsters into food.
All right, very nice. So still from Cord here, Cord Omen Pilled Plushie. Mm-hmm. What new type of experimental magic set do you think might come out next? So this isn't what you want. This is like a prediction game here. So that's things like Conspiracy, where you have multiplayer. Cord's thinking like Battle Bond multiplayer, Unsets, Plane Chase. This is kind of a tough question. You have to put yourselves in Morrow's shoe. What's coming up? What's the avenue that Magic's going to go down?
All right, here's an idea. Mm-hmm. We got this Death Race set coming up that we don't know much about. Give me like a fast multiplayer format, something where it's not about winning one game. It's first to win 2 games. And we're going to somehow get the game speed up high enough that we can expect to play 2, 3, 4, 5 games in 3 hours or whatever.
How do you think we do that? Is it the type of cards that we're including in the set? Are we changing the rules of how we play? Everyone's life total is at 10 instead of 20?
Yeah. Or life totals are dropping, or some other kind of variant that's like, part of the reason that you want to be fast is you want this to be like accessible to newer players while also being like novel and fun for existing players. Maybe that's kind of the Battle Bond dream. I don't know if it panned out, but the Battle Bond dream is like, hey, an experienced player can team up with a newbie player and they can draft together and then, learn the ropes and then play. Mm-hmm. Can we somehow apply that to, like a free-for-all thing? We either do like a quick draft or some, I don't know if it'd be Jumpstart or whatever, but something where we can get a bunch of games in. A person can like start to build their confidence and feel good. Kind of like playing a board game, like a Pandemic. That's like an hour long, so you could play 2 or 3 times in one night when you're first learning.
Man, I think that's a pretty good idea, actually. That sounds good to me as someone who doesn't have as much time to dedicate specifically just towards playing Magic. A format that I can churn through games pretty quickly that is still got some multiplayer elements that aren't Commander related. Yeah, I'm into that. All right, next up from yours truly, Mono White Border, aka Peter.
Yeah.
All right, kind of along the lines of Universes Beyond, but you don't have to think of a new third party IP. What's your dream Magic set theme, either to visit in the future or design for yourself? And returns are like, okay, so like if you want to go like, oh, I want to return to Innistrad but do this, that's fine too. And you like either way, this can be canon or you could be like this custom design that you've been wanting to do forever.
Yeah, I mean the custom thing that I have wanted to do for a long time and have kind of played with on and off is sort of redoing basic Magic rules kind of thing. Like you're redoing Revised, you're redoing Alpha. What would we do about it? How much would you change? And that's figuring that out is like really fascinating to me. With like, how could we have, maybe a mixture of modern technology and a little bit of old technology? What could we redo that would make it like feel kind of new and weird, but still be Magic?
I know I've talked about this before with you, but have you talked about this on the podcast? Because you kind of been playing around with Revised and kind of recreating that first moment when you played Magic and the card's value was 0. Like you didn't know that a Black Lotus was worth $1 million and a Colossal Dreadmaw was worth 2 cents. You just knew that whenever your friend played Colossal Dreadmaw, you died.
Yeah, I think I've been playing in like a Commander sealed league for the last couple months where we are allowed to trade. And that's been like super fun for me and like really captures a lot of like new things about Magic where, lining up the right trade, not trying to scam people, but just like trying to have fun, do that kind of stuff. Somehow I can get back to that feeling rather than like Cube, which is like a draft, and then put it away, which is cool. I love Cube. This is like you get some product and then you just have that indefinitely, and you're trading with other people, and maybe you inject some new things over time, something like that. But you're playing it over the course of months.
Mm-hmm. The more people I interact with Magic, the more I run into Magic players who've been playing a long time and just yearn for that. Still, they just yearn for the, I want back in the day when we just opened our pack and we played our like 80 card deck because we didn't want to take cards out. We just kept adding cards in and just jamming blindly.
Yeah, like it's just not practical to trade.
Yep.
I guess this is why currency exists. Like it's just more efficient to convert your resources into money and then turn that money into the cards you actually want.
Mm-hmm.
So trading is just not that efficient, but the closed trading environment is very enjoyable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess for Magic stuff, I don't know. I feel like the stuff that I really like is popular anyhow, so they get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at some planes here. I don't know. We're getting more Tarkir. We're obviously getting more Ravnica, all the big hits. Meriden. I guess we're going to get... does Meriden exist? Or Meriden was like merged with...
I'm the wrong person to ask about Magic lore.
Where's Teferi from? Zalfir.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll get that someday. I guess Capenna. Give me Capenna, but don't allow any angels in the set so we can actually feel like it's Demon World.
Tim's dream Magic set is all the angels are actually gone from Capenna. I love it.
I want a little more demon. I want it to be a little more demon soaked.
All right, still kind of on the same track. You're talking Magic sets. First set, favorite set, and most wins. Tim's a big drafter, so what's your set you think you got the most wins in?
Well, I know the best win streak I went on, which was, of all things, Dragons of Tarkir, the third set in the Tarkir block.
Oh, hell yeah.
I once won, this is true, 18 matches in a row on Magic Online.
Oh my God.
It's like the day it came out, and I started in the morning, and I won 3. And I don't know, what else am I going to do today? And then I won another draft. And then I went down and told my wife, like, I just won 2 drafts in a row. This rules. She said, get back up there. So I went back up. Fired up another draft, won that. Yep, I won 5 drafts in a row, and then almost won the 6th. And that's the highest high I've ever ridden.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Now, a lot of like drafters will like say what they want to do is they want to pick one deck and then just like ram that color pair as hard as they can and just like force it as much as they can. And that's what I was doing there. I was just playing red black. I just Kolagon. The aggro decks are sometimes kind of boring on day one. People want to do all the crazy stuff, so that's when you run them over. First set was revised, and I think that might be my favorite set.
Ooh.
I guess my other favorites are just like when I got back into Magic. Right around when I was leaving Magic, I was into Tempest, and I played that a bunch. My curiosity was really piqued by Meriden being so weird, and that like nearly got me back in. I really loved how alien that felt, and the cards looked all weird because of the new frame and all that. I got back in around Innistrad, so of course I have a lot of love for that. I played Innistrad and Dark Ascension I probably did 50 drafts of. Yeah, I mean, I love all the new sets. Now I'm just at the point where every new set I like. So they're all kind of the same level of enjoying.
They've gotten into a nice a groove here, it feels like, where they've kind of figured out the math on designing a set that is at least likable.
Yeah, it's hard to make a draft set or to see a draft set these days that I won't enjoy drafting 15 times, which is like pretty typical for me. So yeah, let's go revised. Revised first, revised best.
How many times have you stepped away from Magic and then come back for whatever reason? It's another long, if you're a Magic player for long enough, you will eventually leave the game. Not really like I'm done with Magic forever, but you just kind of get out of it and then you get back into it. So what's your number?
In terms of playing regularly, it was like playing from Revised to about Tempest, and then I stopped until Innistrad. I tried playing a little bit in between, like I tried doing a couple, like Ravnica was really appealing, and I tried to draft that. But I had no idea how to draft. And Meriden was really cool. I remember buying all the precons for that. And then Amonkhet and not Aether Revolt, Kaladesh. I wasn't really playing around that year that much. But since then, I mean, because of the pod, I play every set. So,
That's kind of interesting. I feel like our ebb and flow, once you got back in around Innistrad, our ebb and flow was about the same. Because that's Kaladesh is about when I stopped playing for a little bit, and then I got into it kind of right after Aether Revolt. And yeah, I just ebbed and flowed like that. I think Amonkhet was right when I got back into it. So it's weird that we ebbed and flowed at about the same time.
Do you think that like two set blocks were worse than 3 set blocks in that way? Like, or was it just we learned the second and third sets were kind of boring? Because I do remember thinking like with Aether Revolt and Hour of Devastation, like I don't need to bother playing this. This is just going to be more of the same.
The thing that happened for me with 2 set blocks is I never played the first one. I always played the second one because I felt like the first one wasn't a full finished product.
Yeah.
So like but what happened is and this happened with like Ixalan, Amonkhet, and I don't know if this was the same with Kaladesh. Basically, the first block, the draft formats were all just like play like curve out, beat face, do nothing interesting, and it never evolved past that. And then when they added the second block in, it was like, oh, this is actually like a cool format now, and you get to do weird things.
Yeah, it's like more inconsistent, so like a wider variety of cards are present.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I always liked the 3 set blocks, but just because for some reason I just found the like story of playing a 3 set block interesting. Like I never paid attention to the Magic story, but like playing the first cons block felt good. Adding in the second Tarkir block changed it a little bit and felt interesting, and then the third Tarkir block was like a big jump and very different.
Yeah.
But what would happen is you kind of get burnt out on it. So no matter how interesting the third block or the third set in a block was, you were kind of done by the third, like this first or second draft. You're like, okay, cool, whatever.
I guess maybe I'm thinking that even when there's only 2 sets, you still got that somehow.
Yeah.
There's still always the weaker of the 2 formats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at like, at least since I've been back, Innistrad block, people poo-poo Dark Ascension pretty hard, and then Everson Restored was not a respected draft format. Return to Ravnica block, I mean, RTR was cool. Gate Crash, people didn't like getting Boros all the time. And then Dragon's Maze is its own thing. Theros block, Theros is the best one, and then Born of the Gods is kind of empty. Yeah, I guess like of the ones that I played, there was no like 3 hitters all in a row. Of all 3 sets were classic.
You know, back in the 3 block days, I was doing a lot of brewing and standard. And so like I didn't have a lot of money, but I could brew a deck and take it to FNM and like win at FNM. That's Tarkir, like Dragons of Tarkir is like one of my favorite sets because I built this like Temur control deck that was just happened to be really good against the Dimir control deck that was the meta. But I think for standard, the 3 blocks were a lot better for brewing. Something about the 1 block sets just really turn into good stuff decks and only good stuff decks.
Yeah. Maybe that is a good distinction to make. For draft, the 3 set blocks were often not successful. But maybe for standard, it's actually still kind of fun because you're getting like more and more and more cool cards that all kind of go in the same deck.
Mm-hmm. You can really build out the synergies a lot more clearly over 3 sets in a block.
And I mean, even since like the Kaladesh or whatever, like draft design has gotten so much more advanced that maybe 2 set or 3 set could work for a little while.
Ooh. Are we due for another set shakeup soon? They kind of come pretty regularly.
I saw it in the article today when we were recording this, like a little, maybe a week before it actually comes out. But Maro said that there's going to be like an announcement. We have a panel scheduled for MagicCon Vegas, blah, blah, blah. The Foundations of Magic Next Era, where you'll discuss things like product fatigue and stuff like that. We know Foundations is going to be like a standard set that hangs out in standard for at least 5 years. Are we getting a shakeup? Are we going to do 3 standard sets a year instead of 4?
I don't know.
Could be interesting.
I don't know. And we've already done the prediction question, so we can't go back to it. So trudging forward. So the next question is from Perry K.
Okay.
What do you see as the largest area of untapped design space in Canon MTG?
I don't know if I'm qualified to say largest, but I do know one thing that I feel like has a lot of potential and hasn't been used. Especially playing a lot of like Commander Limited lately. I've been playing it just all the time. I feel like there's a lot of room for cards that work well in politics, but aren't just like dominating cards. Like I don't want like an Expropriate, which is like either give me an extra turn or give me a permanent you can control. Like not that level of politics, but just like little deals here and there. I'm able to give flying to a creature my opponent controls. Things that let me make like a little bit of a deal. Playing a lot of Commander Limited, I realized that it's like a whole different skill set than regular Commander or regular Limited. Like there's a lot of things in terms of deck building and everything else that's different. And I don't think that stuff's well understood yet. So cards that like help people learn how to do well in Commander Limited and stuff like that, I feel like that's a big space that's mostly not explored.
I love that you're bringing this up for Perry K's question, because for those of you following the Design League, Perry K won the challenge that was about designing a mechanic for a multiplayer Commandery set with courtesy.
Yeah,
courtesy.
of the ball, yeah.
Yeah. And I think I remember your comments being like, I like that this is a soft introduction into how you do a little bit of politicking and how you can get ahead.
Yeah. It's funny because you don't want things that like dogpile. Like on the challenge review, we were just talking about the curse where like whenever this specific player gets attacked, people get treasure. And that's just like you play on turn 1 and then that person just gets killed.
Yep.
There are, we're learning what the space is. We're kind of mapping out the space, but there's still a lot of stuff.
All right. And then Perry K's other question here that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What would you like out of a new non-card game video game adaptation of Magic?
New card game video. Yeah, my initial answer isn't a good answer, which is I want the like new Chandelar. There's like a Witcher game, Thronebreaker, that people should check out. That's like a build a deck over time, build a collection over time, do a huge quest with a lot of subquests, like an RPG using cards. But that's just playing Magic, So that's not quite the answer. What do we want? Like puzzle? I guess there's already like Magic Puzzle Quest or whatever. Like match, Bejeweled, match a couple things together. I don't know. Something that has a lot of little components that you can swap in and out is like a big part of what Magic is. Like when they did that like Diablo game, and it had like a couple planes. Like, I don't know if that's really what's strong about the IP. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't really want like the fighting game with Jason and Kart Racer. I guess like the Arcane TV show, which is like the League of Legends, like a couple League of Legends characters. I guess that kind of shows that like, hey, why not make something using just a couple of your characters in just a cool setting and just like one set of conflicts? Like that can be cool. So when you say, hey, we're going to make a new Magic game, you want it to be a franchise. We're eventually going to line it up to every Magic set that comes out. You want it to be that. But maybe you don't have to do that. Maybe you can just have, your cool adventure game that takes place on Capenna or whatever. It's like the reverse of Universes Beyond. How do we map a whole bunch of Magic concepts into like a variety of things in some other game? I feel like a puzzle game is how you... I guess the thing is the brand synergy is not likely to be high because like the video game comes out 3 years after the Magic set comes out or whatever. So it's like unlikely to be timely. Yeah, I don't know if I have a better answer than
that. All right. Well, hopefully this one's a little bit easier. Gabe asked, what is your favorite card?
Favorite card? When I was a kid, I loved Vesuvan Doppelganger because the art was so cool. That's like the clone that can change every turn. I like kind of explosive commander cards that aren't yet the popular ones. I feel like that's the cards that I like the most. Like Ascend from Avernus, like bring a bunch of weenies back from your graveyard. I've put that in a bunch of decks and I love that. This is a little bit related to what we were talking about before, but I love the card Wrong Turn, which gives target opponent control of target creature. So you give away a creature to somebody else. It's just like a super simple card, super high political value. That's a card that I put in a bunch of decks just because like, hey, why not?
Yeah, this totally lines up with the couple of games of Commander that I've played with you. I'm just like, you want things that scale, but not like exponentially so that they make sense in Commander, but they don't like end the game. And then little political things. Yeah, that checks out.
I guess one that's on the borderline that is just an obviously good card is Rite of Replication. But because it's like if you kick it for like 8 or 9 mana, you get to make 5 copies of a creature. I don't know if I've ever cast it on the same creature twice. Like I just enjoyed making 5 copies of whatever and just doing crazy things with that. But that's kind of like a known powerful card. But that is high up there for me. I don't know. There are a couple.
All right. From Wobbles, favorite Magic storyline.
Magic storyline. I think the one that I like the most, that I just had the most fondness for, is the original Eldraine story, talking about
there you go.
Will and Rowan going on their little quest together. Garrick shows up, but he's used like super well. He's basically the thrall of Oko, and then they break him out of Oko's control, and then like Garrick and Will go on a quest together that's like really harrowing and scary. You learn about Will and Rowan's parents, who also went on their own super scary quest. Like part of being a knight, like a 5-colored knight on Eldraine, involves dying. So there's like a bunch of like cool, fantastical fairy tale stuff, and it still felt magic-y. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. If I had a nickel for every time Garrick got turned by the evil villain and like mind controlled, I'd have 2 nickels, which is weird that it happened twice, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. He's kind of like the Hulk, right? Like you don't want the Hulk to be the main character usually, but he's just a fun guy to have around. Like, I don't know, when the bad guy turns the Hulk against the heroes, that's always fun.
I think the reason it happens to Garrick is because he's not interesting if he's just himself, because then he's just like, oh, I'm going to go punch something.
Yeah, he's just like wise guy who tracks animals for fun.
Yeah.
He's cool. I don't know. I just love that little story. It's like an ebook too, so it's like just a fun little read.
All right, next question from Wobbles. What's the highlight of your Magic collection?
Magic collection?
Yeah.
I'm not a big collector. Maybe the thing that I held the most fondly, back when I was like really into designing cubes and set cubes and block cubes, I'd made like an Innistrad cube that I was working on and having a lot of fun with and whatever else. And like putting a cube together like that, like is bound to be like kind of expensive because you need like 500 cards or whatever. You need to buy sleeves, you need to buy a box, you need to buy dice, you need to get tokens, blah, blah, blah. So I started just making cubes theoretically and saying like, I don't need to buy this, but I'll at least like map out. I'll take what I learned making these other things and try to make other ones. And I made like a Meridan cube with the first 6 Meridan sets. I'm like, so it'll be like $250 to put together. Bother. And then my wife Gabby put it together for Christmas for me. She ordered every card. She found the list. I didn't ask for it. She just figured it all out. And that was just a huge surprise. She got like cool sleeves and a lot of foils and all this other stuff. So I guess that's probably the highlight for me.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Yeah, I enjoy stories about like, oh, the favorite thing in my collection is like these X amount of cards together. That's versus just having one individual card. Juliet asked, how often do you dream about flying?
I do dream about flying sometimes. I don't remember my dreams very often anymore, so I don't know how. I have dreamed about flying often enough.
Okay, and then what about other Magic keywords?
Oh, okay. This is why it's a Julia question.
Yeah. Of course.
I got ambushed.
Yeah. Do you dream about vigilance the most, I assume?
Yeah, I guess that's probably true. I daydream about vigilance the most.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I'm putting the banner up. Victory. We won. Vigilance is like a first class keyword now. It's on like 15 cards a set.
Oh yeah.
Our campaign. We're at the top of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other dream? I guess there was Fear of Lost Teeth, and I have had that dream. in Dustborn.
Man, that sounds. Oh no. Caillou asks, if you had to theme the podcast around a different Magic card, so a Magic card other than Beacon of Creation, which would it be?
It probably wouldn't include the word beacon on a practical level because I've had to say the name of my podcast so many times and people never know, like that word never registers. Like it's not a common enough word.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I always have to repeat it like 5 times. Though we have joked about Beacon of Destruction, where we, instead of being a constructive, helpful, supportive community, we just take down every single card that's submitted.
Oh, the alter ego. Yeah.
Yeah. The mean version.
What if it was that podcast could be Breaker of Creation?
Oh yeah, there's Breaker of Creation now too.
There we go.
How about You're in Command, the playtest card where you turn something into a commander? We'll make a podcast about people explaining their commander decks.
That's there you go.
Yeah. There's got to be some other funny command ones. Oh, here we go. Very Cryptic Command, where we The whole podcast is I give you 4 modes and you tell me if this is one of the legal copies of Very Cryptic Command.
I was thinking the whole podcast is just you can't actually say what the magic card is. It's guess the card the entire podcast.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. There's a ton of great ones in the jokes here. Command the Chaff. We do like a deck building podcast on just like chaffy cards.
Yeah, that is my type of podcast. All right. Next up, we have a couple questions from Pat.
Okay.
All right. They asked if they did another set like Brothers War, revisiting old lore.
Yes.
And you could pick any point in Magic lore to focus it on. Which would you pick?
I was a big fan of Brothers War. Brothers War wasn't a big hit, I don't think, was it?
Brothers War was
the cards.
That was a weird set for me.
Okay.
Because a friend invited me to go to RCQ or like it was one of those like circuit things. So like, okay. This is how bad it was. I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And it was like a sealed thing for qualifying for the Pro Tour, and I ended up top 8ing that, and I didn't know any of the. It was like a pre-release for me. Yeah.
Oh, you're just a savant.
Yeah, it was like the one time that I pulled super well. Like, I just got these bombs and I drew my bombs and it was like a piece of cake. But no, I don't remember Brothers War making an impact.
Yeah, I love Brothers War, but I think what I'm doing is the founding of the Guild Pact, because we got like Niv Mizzet, Weakling Niv Mizzet. We got what was that crazy vampire? We got a bunch of other ones.
Mm-hmm.
There was some other character that's not from Ravnica that happened to be on that plane because of whatever. This was before the mending, so there could have been people from other planes present that we didn't know were from other planes. Mm-hmm. And we're going back to Ravnica at some point, so you could do the Brothers War thing of the back in time set straight into the here's what they're up to now set.
Oh yeah, I think that would be a hit. You might have called your shot if we're going back to Ravnica already. I feel like that's a good one. Put that in the prediction Magic Previews prediction game. Let's go.
You don't have to have like the current guild structures as they are. They can have like really different feels because it was like 1,000 years ago or whatever, where the guilds don't totally exist yet. So like you have some guild stuff and some whatever Ravnica was before the guilds going on. Yeah, I think you can do it.
All right. And then here's some quick hitters from Pat. Though you might have I could see you actually having some really strong opinions on this next question. Thoughts on Eldrazi Spawn versus Eldrazi Scions?
But we just got like a thick dose of the spawns in Modern Horizons.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the crappier tokens. So at some level I have to support the spawn. Yeah, I think I have to go Spawn. Even though like Scions, we got more to explore, but it's got to be Spawn.
All right. There you have it, Spawn. And then next one from Pat here. Does Ajani use a litter box?
I don't really think about furry poop very often.
No pets in the Tim household? Definitely no cats.
I'm allergic to cats and dogs, unfortunately.
Rip. Or not rip, you know what? If you don't want pets, then it's not a big deal.
I'm going to say no. Johnny, they got a bidet or something.
Next up from Red Bay. Tell us about a really good food experience you've had.
Okay. All the way
on the foodie time, yeah.
I'm trying to any food experience I had recently.
Are you not a foodie, Tim? Is that what I'm hearing?
Unfortunately, I don't have a strong sense of taste. So in terms of like actual food excellence, I'm one of the last people you should ask because I just can't taste very well. I guess the best thing to happen to me recently is like within like 3 blocks of my house, like a 3-minute walk, a whole food cart pod opened up, like 7 food carts.
Oh yeah.
A ton of variety. It's like the amount of distance that it takes to walk there is like if you were a king and you had like a banquet hall, from your throne room to the banquet hall would be from my house to this food cart pod. So that's my great experience, just having all that variety right next door.
Oh yeah, that's great. I love when I'm able to walk, and the United States is not set up for this, but when I'm able to walk to anything, that is a big W for me. Like if I can walk to a store, if I can walk to I walked to my dentist. That's the most recent thing I walked to, I think. I walked to my dentist and I was so excited about it.
Got to get those steps in. I think maybe the extra wrinkle to why that's so great. Not only is it like 7 food carts that I'll move in, so like it's 7 new kinds of food moving in nearby. Some of those food carts are going to move to other pods. Some of them are going to graduate to brick and mortar restaurants. And so more are going to come in. So I didn't just get 7. I got like 10, 15, 20 over the next couple of years. Just great news.
So is the food cart pod, is it like a way for people to kind of test out, are people liking this, make changes to the menu? Is that like its intention? Or is it just like an easy in, and then as you make more money, you level up?
Yeah, I think it's like a way to do proof of concept, or if you're like new to it, or like, hey, you worked some other job for a long time, but you've always wanted to make this thing happen. There's so many carts that I knew I live in Portland, Oregon, that I knew as carts that I now see as brick and mortar. So like there's at least 20 or 30 that I've been to that graduated that way. I'm sure it's not an easy life because you're, working for 12 hours straight, prepping and then selling food. But I love them. Whenever you're trying to decide, hey, what should we go do? Want to go to the pod? Well, everyone's going to have something they want there. We don't have to agree.
Yeah. Yep.
It's beautiful.
Our next question from Red Bay here. Oh no, you've woken from a fugue state and you're playing in a standard GP. Okay. How do you suss out what year it is or where you are? How do you get home to the present timeline? And what deck are you hoping is in front of you?
This is more, so it's like a true Quantum Leap situation where I need to adapt to, do I need to play in the GP? What is the...
My assumption is this: you're like literally sitting down and you just drew your hand of 7 and you have to decide whether you're going to concede right now and try and work on getting home, or maybe the deck you got in front of you, you're like, actually, I could spike this, and for all I know, I didn't have to pay to get into this GP. Might as well.
I have to raise some currency while I'm here. I guess one thing that I have learned is if you are stressed out, having some activity to do while you work through your original stress, that's a good thing. So maybe at least play out round 1.
Okay.
I think I know enough Magic cards that I can figure out what year I am by what the contents of my standard deck are. Maybe this is before I have a phone.
The phone is a good catch.
I'm definitely getting into the preview channel and just locking in about 80 prediction games. Just going to clean up Back to the Future, Guinness Book of Records style.
Yeah.
Just cryptic teases. I don't know that I could rip it up in standard. I feel like if you sent me back 20 years and let me play limited, I feel like I could clean up. I know a lot of concepts that, everyone knows more concepts now about how limited works.
Yeah, it'd be kind of funny to just like drop a limited player back in time. Yeah, and like when we still had like general set structures, I'm not saying go back all the way to, alpha or beta, but drop them in like Return to Ravnica, original Ravnica, and just see what they do. Well, I guess we kind of do that with the remastered sets and when they re-release sets on MTGO.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's knock out round 1 and then we'll figure it out.
All right, let's a few quick hitters here. First from Ludos. What's your favorite deck in your collection? Any format. Which I assume is going to be Commander for you.
Yeah, basically all my decks, I've got like cubes, sealed cards, just a slush box of rares. Yeah, that's all I got.
And I think, are you like a one Commander deck at a time person? And then once you're done with that, you kind of take it apart?
Yeah, not one at a time, but I do rotate. Let's see. So I've got the new Joyra, which like cheats artifacts into play. That's pretty good, though. I've played it a lot, so that's close to rotation. I just made the Chun-Li deck, so all instants. Though I think that deck might not be fun to play against, so that might not last very long. Ask
again, Ludos, in a couple weeks, and you'll get a totally new set of answers.
Yeah, what is my favorite right now? I also have like I have a lot of Izzet decks. I don't know. That's where you get to do weird stuff. Torsten, who's like he's like kind of big in Vintage Cube now, but he's a 7-mana guy. Look at the top 7, get all the creatures and lands. I have that deck.
That one's been around for a bit.
Yeah, I've had that for a while.
Yeah.
I played Alondo, though I had to take that apart. Alondo like taps, draws, and then suspends a card. So I had to take him apart because he's too tedious to play against. You untap him a bunch of times. You can just take like a 50 game action turn where every game action is a different one. I keep myself away from the Simic cards if I can, because it's just too gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You use Is It for all your Simic mage gets, their joy playing Is It in Commander.
Yeah.
But without the power.
Yeah. Is It is the way to have the same end game explosiveness without the early game explosiveness of just having like 10 lands on the battlefield when everyone else has 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe my favorite, it kind of tied into earlier. I talked about Will and Rowan, the twins. I had the Will and Rowan like commander pair, the Battle Bond Will and Rowan. And that was just like, have some some commander planeswalkers. So eventually, if the game goes long, you'll be good. And then just a bunch of different ways to wrong turn people into oblivion. Just absolutely messing with combat. Domineering Will, just exchange creatures with someone. That might be my number one favorite commander deck that I've had.
Go. That's definitely an in-person commander deck, not no spell table commander for that one.
Yeah. A lot of goofery.
Yashi Plays ask, what card do you remember designing first, and why did you create it?
Oh, maybe I'll put this up on the Discord. My dad actually found a card that I made when I was like 10 or whatever.
Ooh.
And I'd like cut up like 10 Magic cards. I'm gonna go grab it real quick. 1 second.
Perfect.
All right, I found it.
All right.
I loved blue when I was a kid. And I'd cut up a bunch of just crappy commons or whatever. This card's name is Tim. I cut off enough pieces where it's just a capital T, an I, and a M. It's 5 and a blue, summon a wizard. I don't know what this art is from. It's like a wizard in red clothing with like a staff and then like red lightning coming out of the staff. It's like a T-posing. The cut up has drifted a little bit, so I can't actually read the text exactly right, but it's something like a blue tap or untap something. That part's messed up. I cut out a chunk, it pasted over another chunk. Like I covered up a bunch of the rules text, and as tap, do 1 to any target. So maybe it taps and taps or untaps, I don't know, wizards or something. Mm-hmm. And then most importantly, it's a 15/5.
Oh my gosh.
This is the card that I made when I was 11 or whatever.
How many 15/5s are in Magic? Do we know? Could have been the first one.
I think it will always be the first one. I don't know that we'll ever get a 15/5. I don't remember designing that card, but I obviously did design it because it was at my parents' house.
What a pull.
In terms of remember designing, I just started making a bunch of cards. Oh, I wonder if I can actually pull that up too. There was like I was big on lands and graveyards. So there was like this 1 and a green elf or something that got bigger with lands and graveyards. It's the first card that I remember designing with the intent of putting it in a set. I had wanted to make a set that I still work on occasionally that was like Commander Planeswalkers Unlimited.
Mm-hmm. Contenders, is that it?
Yeah, Contenders.
Yeah, longtime listeners will be familiar with Contenders.
Oh, I can't find this green card in my oldest copy of the set, though, so that card might just be gone. That's too bad. Yeah, I don't know. I made a bunch of Planeswalkers, played them in limited, made counters for Planeswalkers. Good time.
Maybe in the same vein about Tim's own designs. Yeah. This one might be hard. Yeah. What's the most broken card you designed without the intention of making it broken?
Oh, I think I can actually find this card. So this was for Contenders. Basically, the only cards that I've designed that I've play tested were for this set, though I played it probably 40 times. So I had a decent amount of experience with it. He's a giant, like a giant Planeswalker. And he had kind of like a storm condition. Let me see if I can find the rules text.
Oh yeah, that's a good start for a broken card.
Oh yeah, here he is. Ping Ping the Curious. Now this is Planeswalkers Unlimited, so you have a Planeswalker Commanders Unlimited. So you have a commander. Doesn't dictate your color identity, just for limited reasons. But you always have access to this card. If you draft it, it's going to be a commander. So this is 5 and a teamer, so 5 blue, red, green for a 9 loyalty Planeswalker. You may cast this card from the command zone without paying its mana cost if you played 4 or more cards this turn. Now, by the time I designed this card, it's got like a plus that does Simic-y things and a minus that does like ruly things. But The thing that I didn't really think about when I designed this card is that playing lands fulfills this condition.
Oh no.
So if you just have a deck like a Boros deck that just has, I don't know, 1,000,000 1 and 2 drops, on turn 2 or maybe 3, you could just play a land and play 3 cheap cards, and then you get like a gigantic, like Nicol Bolasy Planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
Now this was very fun for people, but it was also super busted.
Yeah. Kind of the thing that makes Planeswalkers too good is when you can land them on a board that doesn't have enough gas to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
That's a good way. Yeah. Free Planeswalkers with a couple blockers, yeah.
And it has like sort of a secondary problem where, because it's a commander, even if it is removed once, it still has this condition to get itself back on the battlefield. So if you fill your hand back up in a couple turns, you can still get it for free. You've cast a bunch of spells and get a free big Planeswalker on turn 7.
Our next question comes from our Design League winner for 2024, Provocative.
Ooh. Oh, hell yeah.
What would be your hook for a return set to your favorite plane? So I think we have to lock in what your favorite plane is first.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to do your hook, because we've touched on a hook. Like, you have a good hook for the flashback Ravnica set, but if Ravnica's not your favorite plane, then that doesn't count.
Yeah, I'll try to do something else from that. Let's see what else we got. Mirrodin? Is Mirrodin a good answer?
You have talked a lot about Mirrodin throughout the episode.
I do love Mirrodin. Is there a newer set that I should be thinking about?
Eldraine was your favorite story, but I don't know if it was specifically because of the plane.
I guess we need the Eldraine, like, Will versus Rowan thing eventually. Will, the, like, incompetent king of Eldraine, and Rowan, the, like, Anakin Skywalker. Nothing super jumping out in terms of planes. The number of planes is, like, simultaneously, like, really large and really small. Like, I'm looking at a list of just all the planes, and half of them are just from plane cards or whatever. Like a Belanon or a Gobakon. There aren't that many Magic planes.
No, it's not actually that big of a list. And then you have, like, there's, like, a chunk of planes that are, like, not really that likely to be returned to. Maybe not even that big of a hit.
Yeah, like a Rabaya, Wrath, Sarah's Realm, Segovia, Chandelar. We're already getting Tarkir, so I don't want to do that. Let's think about Mirrodin a little bit. So Mirrodin maybe doesn't exist right now.
Don't ask me. Not up to date on the story.
Is it too hard to return to? It was turned into New Phyrexia.
I think hard to return to makes for a stronger hook, honestly.
Yeah. So Zalfir was blinked out by Teferi. In order to have an army worthy of taking on Elish Norn and all the forces still stationed on New Phyrexia when the March Machine began, we needed to find just like a cache of powerful warriors just ready to fight. So Teferi found a way to get a tunnel open to Zalfir, comes in, obliterates Elish Norn. Angel Elspeth comes in to help with that too. They all, destroy New Phyrexia, kind of like overlaps Wrath style, and now basically Mirrodin is mostly obliterated. But Mirrodin exists somehow. All that matter went somewhere. The Phyrexianness, they were all deactivated or whatever, so the oil is inert there. But Mirrodin is floating out in space. And what I really want to do in Mirrodin, what I love playing, like Mirrodin Cube and stuff like that, is just messing with like a bunch of knickknacks and stuff like that. So give me the like junk plane. Like there's a D&D setting called Planescape. It's sort of like this nexus between different planes in D&D. And it's ruled by this like strange, mysterious person called the Queen of Pain. But what really the legacy of Planescape is just like, it's just absolutely all the garbage from all the different places in the multiverse.
Yeah.
And so it's like Junkertown, it's like people down on their luck scraping by, scrap in Mad Max kind of stuff. It's maybe in the Thunder Junction realm that you might see where like there's bad guys from all over the place, like this here. Or, we need like a time spiral kind of set every once in a while. Here's our way to just get like a million references to like the sets from like 2018 to 2024. what's all the junk that got sucked through all the omen paths into just like one trash plane. What was it, Thor Ragnarok, where they go to where Thor has to fight like in the Game Master, and there's like this big junk planet, he lands in a trash dump or whatever in the movie. It's like half Mirrodin and half like stuff from everywhere.
Yeah, all right. Did you ever watch the show Junkyard Wars? I think it was like a Discovery Channel show or something.
No, is that like a robot battle thing?
Basically, like two teams get together and they have to build some sort of contraption. So like one of the episodes you can find on YouTube is like you have to build a tractor pull. And so they design their thing and then you have to just go out into the junkyard and find scraps to use. So like they'll disassemble a truck for the chassis and then they'll find an engine and whatever. I've long theorized that as like, oh, that could be a fun set of like a Junkyard Wars, and you could have scavenge. Like, I keep wanting a set where you scavenge vehicles. So
that's exactly what we're talking about here.
I'm right on board with you. Of like, let's get junk plane, the garbage of the multiverse, all collected in one space.
To be like a real Magic set, we kind of need like another layer, another thing that's going on besides like this is like reclaim Mirrodin junk and stuff from it. We need like some other twist. But there's 2/3 of what we need for our plane concept here.
And if you have the last third, hop in the Discord and share it in the latest episode channel. Perry K asks, if you had to create a set where the card names could only be song titles or lyrics in songs from a single musical artist, which artist would you pick and why?
I don't know that I'm any good at answering this. Right now... The band that I listen to most now is definitely for people exactly in my demographic and age range, which is Wolfpack. It's like a funk band by a bunch of white guys.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I'm not in your demographic or age range, but I'm aware of the band.
Okay. So the younger nerds are also getting into this, and they have.
Whoa! Let's not. I'm not into it. I just know that it exists.
Oh, okay. They're very eclectic, and they, I'm sure they're all good musicians or whatever, but all the songs are all different. So whatever we need to do in order to make a Magic set, we could find those words in the Wolfpack lyrics.
There you go. Xena, Distraction Incarnate, asks, what is your most controversial Magic take?
Ooh. Maybe the thing that people like that I don't like is that I'm done with sagas. We need to never print another saga.
Ooh, there you go. I will give you sagas are tricky because it's a funny story that the reason we didn't do sagas is because they were like lame planeswalkers or dumb planeswalkers. And that's also part of what makes sagas not that interesting to like replay is that you just play them and they, more than any other card, it feels like they do the same thing over and over again, but they also take forever to do it. So they're like really over the top about doing the same thing over and over again.
How a lot of people feel about like different kinds of DFCs. That's how I feel about sagas.
Gabe Lincoln asked, what's your favorite non-Magic game?
There's a lot of games. The one that I play a lot right now that's just my chill out game is Balatro.
Okay,
Which is like a run based. It's poker themed. It's not just came out on phones. I think formative games for me, Zelda 1, exploring what a lot of people like out of Dark Souls and Elden Ring. I got as a kid from Zelda 1. First couple Final Fantasies. Earthbound was one of my favorites back in the day.
You're definitely deep in the RPG. Give Tim an RPG and he will play it for sure.
Yeah. There was like a, 6-year time span where I just played RPGs and I probably played maybe literally every Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 RPG that was in English. But on the other hand, my brother and I used to play NBA Jam 95. That was Live 95.
Right on, yep.
And that kind of taught me, hey, maybe the jocks are on to something. So I guess kind of like what I was talking about with Magic sets, like new video games. I like have Game Pass, so I'm playing like 2 new games every week. There's less of that like formative favoriteness. It's more the old stuff.
Any board games? Favorite board game? Like you're going to the cabin and you're like, hey, person, bring this board game.
Let's try to get it under an hour. That's all I'm trying to do with a board game.
Yeah, you don't care. Just anything under an hour.
I go to like a board game weekend with people like at the coast and all this other stuff. And this is where all the hardcore board game people get their gigantic board games played. And more power to them. But I'm finding a different corner where I can play, rip through a bunch of little games. No Thanks is a simple one that delights everybody. It's like barely even a board game. Yeah.
All right, and then here's 3 quick hitters from Juliet.
Okay.
Favorite cycle, favorite guild mage, favorite mana rock.
Favorite cycle. I think the Theros Gods would probably be number 1 for me.
Okay.
I really like the Theros Gods. The original 5 and then how they expanded into 10 more.
Mm-hmm.
Chef's kiss. And like almost all of them are still cool cards. More than half at least.
Almost all of them. What's the one you have in mind that's a lame card?
I'm just assuming there must be a bad one. You know what? It might not be true. People like Athreos, Ephara. I guess Ephara is sort of like a blink card, and I've come to hate blink. So, but I do love the concept of Ephara. Erebos, people like Heliod. Erois still gets played. Karametra. Karanos is a little tough to play these days. It's more of like a one-on-one card.
I was thinking about Pharika. Pharika seems pretty low on the...
Pharika, 2 mana, eat the graveyard, get a snake. Yeah, I guess that is kind of mild. But like Phoenix, Xenagos, Purphoros, these are all like still highly played EDH cards.
Mm-hmm.
Mogus is a cool guy. Mogus is just like, I want to harass you guys.
Yeah, I was about to say, Mogus is a cool guy. First time those words have ever been said by anybody.
This is like an early Commander lesson for me, where like there's a power level of the card and the heat level of the card.
Yeah.
And they are often unrelated to each other. Mogus is not a powerful card, but it does draw a lot of heat. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, Mogus deals 2 damage to that player unless he or she sacrifices a creature. This is the lightest slap on the wrist that you could apply in a multiplayer game, but it would still make people mad. Yeah, there's so many of these that are good. Yeah, that's my answer. Theros Gods.
There you go. Good answer. Guild Mage, Mana Rock?
Guild Mage. I like the goofball, the original Guild Mages, though I love all the Ravnica ones too. I wonder if any of these jump to... I think the original Mythic Uncommon, Vidugazi Guild Mage.
Oh, yeah.
You can create centaurs or populate for cheaper. That just absolutely took over games. I guess the Selesnya ones, the original Selesnya Guild Mage was also good. Make saplings, then pump your team. What else was I murdering people with? Actually, a lot of these I'm not... I was like, I don't really need this on a lot of these cards. I don't have a lot of... I didn't play a lot of these in limited. They weren't always that good. Of the original crew, I just loved looking at the old Guild Mages. They were so cool. They had 2 abilities. So it'd be like a black card. I'm looking at Shadow Guild Mage here. That wouldn't have been the choice, but Shadow Guild Mage is a black mana for a 1/1. Blue and tap, put target creature you control on top of its owner's library. Red and tap, deal 1 damage to a creature or player, 1 damage to you. So they just like little things that do, you're doing stuff. You feel like you have options. The white option for both of them, for like each color always did the same thing. So like the white option was give first strike. So I feel like the 2 ones that overlapped with white, like give first strike or deal damage to something. Give first strike or give something extra power. Yeah, that's where I needed to be back in the day as a kid.
Have you not played a Nivix Guild Mage in Commander yet, Tim? You might need to try that out. You might enjoy that.
What am I looking at? What's your Nivix Guild Mage?
I've died to a couple Nivix Guild Mage combos with copying spells forever.
Copy target spell you control, choose new targets for the copy. Is this like we play with something that makes mana? Is that what we're trying to do?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember what the combos are. I just remember I would see Nivix Guild Mage and I'd kill it on the spot in one of my friends' decks.
Yeah. I think in Commander, I'm not usually trying to do like that kind of combo. I'm trying to like cast 15 different sorceries at the same time. That's it to me. I'm trying to flop in the weirdest artifact you've ever seen. But I respect it. This Guild Mage looks like he could do something. I don't have a strong memory from Return to Ravnica because this ability seems hard to make work. And because like Izzet in that set was like kind of a really tempo-y deck, so I don't want to spend all my mana on like looting, copying stuff. It wasn't a value deck. Yeah, maybe let's say let's do Shaper Guild Mage, the old blue card. Give something first strike, give something +1 power if you have the right colors.
There you go.
What was my last one?
Favorite Mana Rock.
Favorite Mana Rock. There's got to be a good answer for this.
It's always a goofy one. Coveted Jewel, political one.
Yeah, I did play Coveted Jewel in Vintage Cube. That was a good time. Blinking that, drawing a million cards.
Oh, that's why I was like coveted jewel is like weirdly expensive, and I was like, why is it expensive? Oh, because people, blink it.
Blinking it, yeah.
Yep.
I've been I don't usually enjoy having no maximum hand size because God did not give us hands big enough to to hold this many cards. But in Commander Sealed, I have a lot of fondness for a decanter of endless water, which the one that I opened in the Sealed League is just like a goofball black and white fish. It looks like a fish horn.
Yep.
And I just have a lot of fun joking around with that crew because I have that card in my deck, and I have some like a whatever the normal way to get no maximum hand size. And then I have Learned Learner, which is another playtest card. As long as your maximum hand size is other than 7, it has tap draw a card. 1 mana for a creature, tap draw a card. It's 0/3. What else could you need?
Oh yeah.
So that's become one of my favorite mana rocks just because I associate it with with that deck. Another favorite of mine, got to be Liquid Metal Torque. 2 mana. Tap to add a colorless. Tap target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types until end of turn. You know someone in their hand has destroy target artifact or destroy all artifacts. Let's open up this deal stack. What do you need?
Yeah.
I can turn something into an artifact. You can destroy artifacts. Let's make it work.
Yeah, liquid metal torque especially gives that's strong Tim vibes from that one.
It's like all my Izzet decks need mana, so I need all the 2 mana rocks.
Yeah, what do we want to? So I think that's all the questions that we've got time for this time. If you can think of more questions, go ahead and keep adding them to the mailbag episode, and maybe 100 or so episodes from now, we'll do another one.
Or sooner, we're in Morrow mode. If it's popular, we'll do it more.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've left a couple questions that I skipped over. I want to make sure that we got to everybody's questions. So I tried to mark them with like a weird skeleton guy.
All right.
Kind of screaming with his hands on his head. So you can, if you want those questions asked, we'll get back to them in another one. But yeah, feel free to continue posting. And then I'm going to hand it over to you, Tim, for the wrap up.
Yeah, we got the October Design Challenge. That's going to be Going Ghost. Design a card that flickers itself or something else, but doesn't return it the same turn. So if you imagine ghosting someone, you don't leave a trace that you're there. You're still there somewhere. Halloween Spirit. Make it be a spirit or care about spirits. And then we're not just sticking to that. We've also got Spirit Halloween. I think this is the fun bonus point. Make it a cheap knockoff of another card. Spirit Halloween is like a Halloween costume store that is like pops up every year, sells a bunch of cheap costumes, and goes away. So give us like the crappy Brago. Give us like, take some existing, flickery card or some other card and give us the cheap knockoff. What are you trying to do?
I know I'm trying to reach into my bag here of like weird, terrible white cards that flicker.
Okay. Yeah.
Man, nothing comes to mind. There's got to be tons of just terrible spirits though in Magic that don't see any play because they flicker so poorly. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to go into my bag and try and find a bad white card to make even worse, or a good one. Maybe tackle like a bad Oblivion Ring. I'm all for that.
Well, we have like cards that are just like good at blinking, but you could make it like funkier or something. But they're also like blink targets, so you could think of like what's a good thing to get blinked. It's something that used to be a reanimate, now it's a blink or something like that.
What I am thinking is that the later you are in the list of design challenge like submissions, the more interesting you gotta make sure you make that card. Because Tim said earlier this episode, he's like, I get kind of bored with Flicker, so like we have a collective challenge to make Tim excited about Flicker again. It's up to us.
Yeah. I try to be impartial. I try to, if I'm reading a saga, I try to just evaluate it how saga lovers would. But yeah, give me something cool for blinking. But that'll be due October 25th.
So that's our podcast for the week. You can join our Discord with the link in the show notes. Tim, thank you for answering all of the community's questions.
This is maybe the most I've talked on an episode, I think.
Yeah. Do you got anything you want to plug, Tim? This is your chance. This is your chance to plug.
Send me your best Ice Age and Alliances cards.
Oh man, you're about to get flooded.
Yeah, I'm ready. The caps are melting. Just getting flooded with cards.
You might even get is flood an Ice Age card? No.
Oh,
You might literally get
Gate or
flooded with
whatever.
flood.
Yeah.
All right, and as always, I am Mono Whiteboard in the Discard. You are Tim F. Riley, and thanks for listening. Oh, wait. There's just one more question. This is from Bradley Rose.
Okay.
You come to, opening your eyes to a scene you don't recognize. A couple of kobolds laughing while hunched over together on the other side of this dimly lit cave. You don't remember how you got here. You're quickly becoming aware of a heavy pain at the back of your head, and that you're tied up against a boulder. You pan your head from left to right, scanning the room. A healthy fire pit, empty bowls of food, combat equipment on the floor too heavy for those kobolds. A third kobold meeting your eyes, whose curious face is just 3 inches away from yours. Whoa! This kobold has a huge grin on their face, muttering about how great it is you're awake, staring at you uncomfortably close. What do you do?